People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, this Premier League weekend has been a bit mad, to put it kindly, for Arsenal fans. We saw our team drop more points on the road. I'm so frazzled. It weren't on the road. Apologies. We lost at the Emerys. To make matters worse, obviously Man United, in the last 7 minutes, or in a 7-minute period, managed to score 3 goals. I can see the game to the corner, people. They're winning 3-2, which means they're gonna go up the table, and I think we go down to 7th. Listen, when it comes to Unai Emery, I'd love to, if there's a higher power out there, I'd love to be wrong in a couple of months. I'd love Arsenal to turn it around, get top 4, and come back at all of my vids, or how I've been quite vocal on my disbelief now in Unai Emery, and to say I'll hold my hands up like a man and say I was tweaking. He's the guy for this thing now. I don't see that happening personally, people. I don't see it. The statistics are there. The eye test is confirming in front of your eyes, whether you're in the game, in the stadium at the game, or you're on TV. It just doesn't look like it's going to be a happy ending with Emery and Arsenal, people. But I can't lie to you, people. As much as I don't feel he's the man, and I feel... I wouldn't call it a witch hunt. He is being witch hunted. Apologies if you can see my cream. He is being witch hunted to a degree, in the sense of, obviously, when you're not doing a job at a team like Arsenal, the top 6, the media's was going to draw storylines, and you're seeing a lot of stories because everything is exaggerated. Even, I'm not saying don't ask Emery questions, clearly, but you know, when it's Arsenal, there's even more sensation on the stories, because you look at Spurs and United and Arsenal, we've all been crap in the last few weeks. It's only really been Arsenal's thing that was magnified. Like I said, United have moved above us. Chelsea, Jose Mourinho with Spurs beat West Ham 3-2. We lost, in it, people. So I'm being careful. We all know he's not the man. I'm not talking about those of you rightly or wrongly constructive criticism. He's not the man. There's a witch hunt, and as much as I think Emery is not the man for this job, yeah, he's still Arsenal manager, and I don't dislike him as a man. I want him to turn it around, if he could turn it around, which I don't think he can. I feel a bit sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him in the criticisms he's taking, people, because I do think, and I said in a lot of vids and was called a hater at the beginning of last season, fans were so quick to proclaim him this, that and the other, and say these things that he's doing is genius. The very same things he's doing now that he was doing then, when things aren't going gravy, you see that he was tweaking a bit. So I feel the same energy fans were using to proclaim that the new Arsenal is back, we've got our Arsenal back, all of this sort of stuff. They're now seeing that same energy is now being looked at in regards to what he's doing this season. And I believe Emery has a lot to answer for. Clearly, people, tactics, everything is all on him. He's had 15 months to get it right, or at least show steps to be getting it right. We've still seen nothing. He's still talking about finding balance, finding solutions. Been there 15 months. He needs to keep it stepping. But I do feel sorry for him, people, because he is Arsenal manager. And Sky Sports, obviously, there were, It's well known how, obviously, Emery, he says good evening, and all of them things. And we can have jokes, we can have banter, we can do things. Obviously, Emery runs his own little bands to that. But I do feel isolated from his stuff at Arsenal now. I do think, I'm not saying people are being racist, I'm not saying people are taking it to a certain level, but I do think it is a bit unhealthy how his English is mocked and things like that. And it always annoys me when people are mocked. Like, a way Emery might sound, I think his English is quite well for someone who's, I just assume he's been learning since he's come here. Obviously, he gets a couple things wrong and he's not able to articulate himself, and maybe inability to learn English or find a common mother tongue amongst his players could be one of the reasons he's unable to communicate what he might want to do. But personally, I hate when I see people mocked for being able to speak 2 languages or trying to speak one, because it takes intelligence. If you can't speak 2-3 languages, you have no right to mock him. I'm not talking about the healthy bants and the funny and humorous side behind good evening. We all know people take it too far, and it's getting a bit exciting. And I do think Sky Sports were quite vile, really. I do. Obviously, reporters egg it on and carry on in certain sort of ways, people. But obviously, we've just lost. He has to feel it, but he has to take the heat. But it felt like that Sky Sports presenter post game, when he said good evening, Emery, it hasn't been a good evening or something. Obviously, it sounds quite catchy and stuff, but I think that's personal. It's a bit of a dig, man, and you're kicking a man when he's down. Like, for me, Emery looks broken now. I don't think Emery is the man for this job, but I'd like him to turn it around, even though I think he needs to go tonight, people. One thing I give him is he must, personal doubt and self-doubt has to be creeping into him. It would do anybody, people. But if we just go based on what he said, he believes he's the right man for the job. He believes he can turn it around. I don't see how Raul Sanllehi can have confidence, but allegedly he's got the a vote of confidence from Raul Sanllehi, who is a major player in terms of decisions. So if we isolate that, if Emery's got belief and the man above he is, while the fans believe, and if the fans do or don't believe, and you should be a major factor, it's not noise, but you can kind of air it, people. I don't think Emery's the man, but I do think it's a bit poor taste in some of the witch hunting that's gone on with him. Not talking about him leaving the club. I'm talking about, people taking a bit far, getting at his English and things, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy, man. I don't really like that one there. We might as well speak about Emery's post-game notes in depth now, people, because we're hearing. We might as well. But he said, on the result, I'm going to try and paraphrase where I can, but he said, do you know what, there's no point talking about that. Let's get to the relevant parts. He said, the first half we were drawing, but it wasn't enough with how we were playing. The second half we started better, we changed. The best 20 minutes all season were in the second half. That moment, we created chances, we didn't score, but I was happy with that moment. That was our moment. I wanted to look at our players in that moment. When they scored, when we were better, and when we took some risks after that to equalise, but we conceded some chances to score the third. We drew at the last moment, but it's not enough. Really, we can be disappointed, fans also, and me, with the result. Now, I do get, Emery does have this bit of a defeative attitude. Like, he's finding positives where there's none. Call a spade a spade. We were crap. We did not walk away with points. That's what frustrates me. He's spoken about, I'm not going to read it out, but he's spoken about Lacazette's lack of celebration. And why would Lacazette want to celebrate? We're dejected, we're playing poor. The goal's an equaliser, but again, stupid mistakes. And do you know what? The first goal sums up Emery's team. Now, the players are switching off. Don't let the players have to ask questions, because they're professional footballers. You play to the whistle. They've switched off for that first goal. And them sort of goals there, whether it's been them sort of goals, conceding pens, not following runners. What's the one common theme you find, people? A lack of concentration for sustained periods of time. How do you get, if you can't do that, you can't defend. They're in tandem, they're in hand. That is one area, one sub-area. The minute Emery got this job and got the keys to his office at London Coley and the Emirates, he should have looked to improve. He's failed to do that. He's failed to improve us at away games. As much as we can talk about tactically and technically the players, the mental aspect from the players hasn't been there. When it comes to attacking players, I'm not praising Wenger because it all went pear-shaped for Wenger, but at least at a point, certain attacking players, they didn't have a mental sort of rope around their neck, in that they felt free in terms of attacking and stuff, and they had creative freedom. Our players, they're not given enough freedom and clarity of mind to go out there and do that. We're not good enough defensively for the whole team in whatever position to get confidence at. We don't know what this team stands for, people. And it probably will happen, but if Unai Emery, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Marco Silva survived this weekend, come the end of play, end of the work day on Monday morning, with everybody still in the job, then it is what it is. I don't think Oli will go tomorrow because he's just won. I don't think Emery is going to go tomorrow because of the language we hear. Potentially Silva could go, but you are hearing language coming out of Everton that some people on the board are retaining, the owners are retaining faith in him. When pressed about the tense atmosphere, Emery responded, "I understand the supporters. They are now frustrated, disappointed and angry. The players feel the same. My job is to work, analyse and find a solution for how we can improve. I know the key here is to take confidence, to achieve the points, the good performances at home, and then to take that away. The key here is with our supporters. I know that, and the players also know that. Our target here is to win this evening, but was to win this evening, but above all to connect. We didn't do that. We lost a very big opportunity, and now we will analyse and work on a solution for the next match." Now, Emery, you're not the guy. Every minute is solutions. You've got no solution. The only solution is your P45, really and truly. How do you expect these players to get confidence when they clearly don't understand the baseline of your tactics beyond playing out from the back, but you're consistently chopping and changing formations and chopping personnel? Football, what people don't understand about football is people really don't understand coaching, improving players that are already there, and improving relations. Like, you look at Lacazette and Aubameyang and Pepe, they're not all connecting, knowing, you know them ones there, them Liverpool man, they know, okay, Salah's dropped deep, let me make this run, Firmino will find me. You know that telepathic stuff? We haven't got none of that. And a lot of them things come, obviously, with training together, but from playing together. Come on, how many of us played Sunday League football and played at school and that? You play better with, not all your friends, but some of your friends you prefer to play with, because you know if you make that run, they're going to find you, or they might defend, allowing you to go up, or things like that. How do we get any of that, them sustained, meaningful partnerships in football, if we consistently change the team, people? 1 minute is 5, then it's 3, then it's 4, and there's not, what makes it worse, if you was tinkering but there was a core philosophy, it would be fine. So how can these players get confidence when they're always being moved? How can players get confidence when they're not only that, but they're being played out of positions, really, and they're being set up to fail on top of us playing poorly? Where's the confidence going to come from? Where is it going to come from? Look at Socrates. I'm not defending Socrates, because I believe without Emery, Socrates was appalling. He's been appalling this season, and was appalling, to put it nicely, against Southampton. But you almost look at it, Emery's almost set him up to fail. Holding's not in the team, so he's not going to play on the left-hand side. And I do believe if Holding was there, it would have been Chambers, Holding and Luiz in terms of playing out from the back on Saturday. But he weren't. So you've put Socrates in. All right, cool. Surely you put either Luiz, I don't think, you could say Chambers, but Chambers has got the relationship thing going on with Bellerin on the right-hand side. Surely you put Socrates in the middle and you put Luiz on the left, who is better playing out from the back. You see, whether it's even in a defensive, like a partnership, people, Socrates is not the best ball player. He's an old school sort of defender in comparison to the rest of the defenders in the squad. He's going to struggle on the left hand side. And he did. And that kind of, for as poor as he would, you set a man up to fail, really and truly. It doesn't matter if it's creative players, attackers. How can the players get any confidence with what we're doing? At Seville, I swear this guy more or less played 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. There was some consistency. So why is Emery not able to define something? Yeah, he's been afforded first we said he needs to learn his squad. Then he said he doesn't believe in his squad. Then we said he doesn't know his squad. Whatever it is, whatever the mental reason Emery has for consistently changing or just not believing in any of these players, he has to answer for it. Clearly, we're poor defensively, and whether we're doing sustained defensive traits, how to defend on a strong basis for long periods of time on a defensive basis, we're doing that in training, defending outnumbered, defending aerial crosses, following runners, then that's cool. But how we're playing, I don't think we're doing that on a match day, people. So I do think, because of our just lack of progress defensively, or Emery's inability to improve us to that level, to have consistency starting off from defence, people, I think he's just going 5 at the back, because in theory, 3 at the back, 5 at the back, there's extra man in certain positions, so it might free up people mentally slightly. I think that's what he's on, but I do think he's cowardly and he is scared, and I do think that all filters down to the players, and you see it, people. I do think the players have down tools, and as much as I said Emery needed to be backed in the window and all of these things, coaching was a big part of this role. Coaching philosophy, identifying areas of weakness prior to your tenure at this club and improving them. Foresight. There's been no foresight from Emery. There's been nothing. He's just consistently tinkering. And the players, if the players don't know what they're going to get from the manager or some sort of basis, how can there be any clarity for them going into match days if they don't know they're playing 3 at the back, 4 at the back? It's changing week in, week out. It's not even a thing where we've mastered one core system and philosophy, and then because we've got that one on point, we do things according to the opposition, or we tweak and change. We've been tweaking and changing from day dot. Tweaking and changing and tinkering only works when you have a squad of 26 players or 11 on the pitch that understand that sort of stuff. We don't have that, people. Furthermore, he's asked on what needs to change. One is confidence, and that comes with a good result. Yes, Emery, but you don't seem to be the man for that. To take that confidence, we need to play better, control the game better, and improve our game plan. We didn't do that for 90 minutes. In the first half, we equalised, but it wasn't enough. We needed to impose and to show we were better on the pitch in 45 minutes. We didn't do that. We changed in the second half, and we achieved that in 20-25 minutes at the start of the second half. But then we were losing. We lost some confidence, and we were frustrated on the pitch. But we tried to push. The supporters helped us, and we drew at the end, but it wasn't enough. And he said, when pressed on the formation change, he said, "That's a decision I made because I need to find a solution. We played with 3 centre-backs to feel stronger defensively, but also because in the first half we were better defensively. Would you say we was better defensively, really and truly, or were Southampton poor finishes? I'm not too sure, Emery, on that, or what you was watching. But it wasn't enough. We needed to attack more in the second half, so I changed it, and he's more or less gone on to say the same things. He's then went on to say, today I tried that with centre-backs changing in the first half when we were drawing because we wanted to win. We wanted to achieve more risk to attack and to get more players in the attacking third. But then we struggled defensively then with their transition. But we are going to analyse it and find solutions. I'm not going to read the rest more, man, because it's getting quite tiring hearing finding solutions and all of this crap, people, because Emery's not the guy for this, man. How much video crap we've been hearing and these things. He's been asked about the players. He's played down reports of any players being angry, which, come on now, we've all played football. The players, if the players didn't tear lumps, obviously not kill each other, but if they didn't tear lumps out of each other and just a healthy having it out sort of thing where emotions are running high, because I think these players need it now. I think Emery's got to move out the room. Emery, whether they believe in Emery or not's a different thing, but if these players want top four, they're going to have to get it for themselves. Being together and pulling together for themselves. It's not about the manager. And I do believe Aubameyang, all of these players need to have it out with each other. Luis, you're not doing your job. Aubameyang, you're not doing your thing. Do you see what I'm saying? They're at that point. They need to have it out with each other and be honest. If they haven't already, these men are professional footballers, so I'll be surprised if they haven't. And it's not really a shock because this is a game of football. He was pressed about his position and he's played it down. He's more or less gave lip service. So yeah, man, he was then obviously asked about Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe. The only relevance bit is we use a different system because the players are ready to do that. It's not a problem with the system. First, it is to take confidence and connect with our supporters here to get a good result. It's coming with that confidence. The players today, for example, Aubameyang worked, Lacazette scored, and I think Ozil worked for 90 minutes. If we scored a second goal in the second half at the beginning, I think that maybe that moment was the key moment to take that confidence and connect with our supporters. And that's, you lot know me, I hate ifs and buts. There's no certainties in life, but if I don't like to sit here and be a team that talks about ifs and buts. If we did this, if we did that. How many games have you seen, people? Literally, our players as well have said stuff like, we've lost 2-1, but we might have had 2 chances. We'll focus on them 2 chances we didn't score and say it would have been a different game. It's always, just call a spade a spade. Like, we didn't. I hear that if we did this, it would have been different. But at the end of the day, we lost. We lost. We can talk about that chance, but I prefer to look on what actually happened and why we lost this game. We switched off for the first and second goals. We did not start the game in a way that a team that's trying to get top 4 and needs a reaction with everything that's happened before the Premier League resumed. We didn't give a reaction of a performance of a team that needs to do that. So why don't we focus on what we've done rather than if we scored in this? Let's just deal with the facts. Let's deal with what we actually did wrong to move forward with this club. We know, because we're going to sit here at Norwich away, whether we win, lose or draw, and say these same things. Whether we've won, lost or draw all season, we've said these same things, people. Like, for the very fact that when Emery was pressed a few weeks ago about perfect performances or whatever, he named Frankfurt in the Europa League. Now, that was a pretty faultless performance when Saka and all the young G's did their thing, but the fact is he couldn't name a Premier League one. This shows you he probably he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he doesn't know. Clearly he's a smart man, but he doesn't know what he's doing. In his last 7 games, he's deployed 7 formations. That's not healthy, people. Surely that's not healthy. That is not healthy, people. Surely. We've lost 1, we've won 1, we've got 5 draws, we've conceded 15, we've scored 14. We're just ineffective, indecisive, stale, and just lacking ideas. And to the point where I'm not going to read out everything, people, but you just look at some of the comments Hassan Hutu said. He said, this is what really touched me. He said, you are thinking we can win this game with 3, 4, 5 goals, but we didn't. After the 70th minute, only we played. We tried to score. We tried to create chances. It was a fantastic performance. And this is a team that people. This is a team that struggled to that had how many shots did I haven't even got the stats, people. No. Apologies, people. I can't even find the stats, but apparently, like, I can't remember the actual statistics, people, but Southampton had 20 odd shots against us, people. Go and look at how many shots they've had in their last recent games combined until they bucked us. This is the sort of thing we're talking about as Arsenal fans did speak about before the game, and it comes to life, people, really and truly. The damning statistic as well is that no team with as few as 18 points after 13 Premier League games has finished in the top 4 in any of the last 12 Premier League seasons. Now, the odds are against us. Statistically, all these things might not be there, but and you can always defy the odds. But if we just look at that, like I said, we all know it's over, people. It's over before it started. We've got four wins out of 12 games in the league this far, and we've only won 6 of the last 19 since last April. So this poor form has been here, people. It's been carrying on from last season, and it's all with Emery. Last season, we'll cut him a blight his first year. He failed to identify the wrongs of his squad. He failed to identify potentially where he went wrong tactically. We saw these against Fiorentina, against Bayern Munich, against Barcelona, all these teams in pre-season, Real Madrid. The same defensive errors, regardless of the teams, were out there. We're still doing the same nonsense. So can we really be surprised when the season started and we're now to this point, and it's got to get worse before it gets better? It is what it is, people. It doesn't make sense. And even if you look at Emery's on his own website, his 5 coaching philosophy things, or he sums up his own approach in football, people. If I read this to you, and I didn't, like I just told you, Unai Emery, what would you get from this, people? Like, you would think this is Pep Guardiola. He has said, these are his own words: amaze the opposition with your approach to the game. Taking the initiative can be key to the outcome of a match. Be clear about what you want. The players can't have any doubts as to how we want to play. They can't go out onto the pitch with uncertainty in their minds. Now, I got to stop because I'm finding it funny, people. Surely, the first 2 points I've said, do you not find them effing hypocritical, people? The players can't go into games without any doubts in their minds. Of course they can. This is from a man that's played 7 different formations in 7 games. People, is this making sense? Is this making sense to you lot? Come on now. It's almost funny. Be clear about what you want. So that means you're whatever you're doing, whether it's a physical demonstration or it's like a sort of verbal communication thing, getting your points across. You have to make sure you're able to connect with not just a group of players, but each and every individual player that you consider key in a different way. Because how you on the screen listening to this video might react to information might be completely different from how I react. How I retain information could be different. Damn right, how I learn is different. And Emery's not a psychiatrist and stuff. I'm not expecting him to be able to know, okay, Maitland-Niles, this is his tick, let me do it for him. But you kind of got to get to that logic or surround people around you. And it makes me think, obviously, I don't want to use the language barrier, but how able or effective is he at communicating? Because the players clearly have doubts. Nobody knows what they're doing, and it's almost like someone is trying to run a parody on us with this and just taking the P word, to be fair with you. He's gone on to say, create a positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude is crucial for the team and their ability to carry out the game plan. I'm sure the players had, you saw it, the players had open minds. You heard the players love the fact that there was behind closed doors sessions, double sessions, training at the Emerys, different approaches. The players were relishing it when Emery came in. But over time, like fans, they've been looking at it and thinking, yo, what, go on for this? This is kind of dead. And they're looking at it sideways now. And can you blame these players? Sorry. So I don't think every player is going out there with the most positive mindset in the tactics. And subconsciously, that's always going to harm us. It also says, people, don't take your eye off the ball. You have to foresee all potential problems, both in the dressing room and the pitch, and on the pitch. Now, whether it's Ozil, whether it's Xhaka, whether it's handling off players, whether it's just having our players, just from a tactical point of view, being able to concentrate for sustained periods, that's just taking a mick, people. I mean, Emery's boying it now. Like, how can you have this on your website? Now, he's actually going against all these principles and ripping them up and doing the complete opposite at this club. It's a madness. Moving on, he said, evaluate before acting. Apply consequential thinking and take the right decisions at the right time. It's a mad thing, people. I'm going to leave that one with you. But you almost have to imagine that in case, for all our problems defensively and whatnot, people, it almost doesn't make sense how you can have, for me, the most damning thing probably is, away from the obvious problems with Arsenal, is that you have Aubameyang, Lacazette, Mesut Ozil, Nicolas Pepe, regardless of their form and who's just been signed and contracts and all these things, you find a way to be on negative goal difference. Now, that's from chopping and changing, that's from just not shooting enough times in games, that's just simply by us conceding a lot of goals. What we've conceded, 14, 15 goals, like I said. It's terrible, to put it nicely, people. And it's almost like a parody. And how Emery has still got his job, I don't know, people. If we just look at the Mirror's actually said that, in fact, no, sorry, people. The Daily Mail's actually said the club's hierarchy are prepared to keep giving Unai Emery longer to prove he can transform Arsenal's fortunes. But the process of identifying Emery's long-term replacement has started, and it should regardless of what Emery does. Emery, in theory, I guess he can win the FA Cup, he can win the Europa League, and while it hasn't been done for 12 years, mathematically top four is there. He could do all three of them things, people. And for me, I'm still screaming he needs to go. He needs to go because he's not the man long term to get behind. He's someone that you could probably say, here's a 50 million, make something happen with that. He's not going to kick up a fuss. He's worked in these environments before. I personally as well believe that after PSG coming to Arsenal, I think Emery relished the lack of pressure at this club. Now he's getting pressure because people can't see the tactics and stuff. But who goes from PSG to Arsenal, where every move is scrutinised, to Arsenal, where at least up until this point, don't know his best squad, needs time to bring people in, take people out, implement his tactics. He had a bag of excuses, but rightly or wrongly, before it came to, okay, what is Emery doing wrong? What is wrong with his approach, people? Do you get what I'm saying? Even the things what he was doing wrong, he was getting praised on. Obviously, a couple of times it happens. Managers make mistakes. You bring on subs, they change the game. But more often than not, we all saw last season, he was praised for his second half substitutions. Very few people until now actually thought, hold on, if he's making all these subs at half time, is he applying the team in the best way possible? It's only now that there's question marks over that. Apparently, the club the Mirror's gone on to say, Arsenal face Eintracht Frankfurt before 3 winnable games against Brighton, West Ham and Norwich. Slip-ups there are likely to spell the end for Unai Emery, with Steve Bold and Freddie Ljungberg ready to step in on deals that are likely to last until the end of the season. Now, could we bring Arteta in, people? If you remember, obviously Mertesacker's at the club. Him and Arteta have worked together, been almost captains in the team. I believe Mertesacker spoke of potentially working under Arteta again, or kind of relished him returning to the club in some capacity in the future. Arteta's been linked with this club. If you believe reports, at one point he was literally a second away from being a manager. So while he's seen as someone long-term for City, he could be presented with an option, people. So it very much seems like, I like to think we're going for unknown people who identify what we want in terms of coaching philosophies and stuff and hit that sort of target. Obviously, we'd hope we're in talks with whether we can convince them to come or not. I don't think Pochettino's coming or will ever sign because he's of his Spurs ties. But on top of looking for someone else, I think the club owe it to themselves to at least put an offer on his table. It'll get laughed off, but there's that. Allegri's not coming, but by the same logic, do you see what I'm saying? Exhausting all your options. Do you get where I'm going with it, people? Because top four is gone. Like I just said with that stat earlier, it hasn't been done for 12 years at the point we're in now. So unless you can win Europa League, and have we got the bottle and the game management abilities to say, we're going to get to the final of the Europa League? I hope we do. At this moment in time, it's us and United that you're looking and thinking, whoa. But other teams could drop, and that's wishing on a star. We've been saying since August, and I've been saying since last season, the best way of getting Champions League is qualifying via the top four. The best position you can put yourself in is fighting to a better capacity for the top four space while keeping the Europa League seriously. So when it approaches the tail end of next season, while there might be a decision to make, do we rest players for the Europa League or do we forget about the league and focus on that? Your eggs are in more than one basket, and Emery he's only got himself to blame because he's got himself to blame, and now we've got to look at the board because apparently Raul is the one specifically backing Emery for whatever reason we don't know. But we praised Raul, and we don't know what he actually specifically does or doesn't. We're told his roles, but we don't know his hand in anything really. It's time to ask question marks of the board because we praised them. We praised them when they did their. We've given them a tough time, but many Arsenal fans after the business in the window summer. We held our hands up and was like, cool. When we first heard Be Excited, we thought Josh was talking was. We started to get behind it. And now we're seeing that because as much as Emery seems to be mad and stuck in his ways and not up to task, you have to now look at the people above him that are facilitating this. And you have heard there's divisions in Arsenal's board because some people wanted Emery to somehow get a new deal. Apparently, particularly the older guards said, no, we don't want him to get a new deal. You're hearing people could potentially resign. You're hearing problems over giving people ambassador roles. So it is very much a big call for power, people. And I did say this when we did make these changes. In theory, it could work great in tandem. All these people in whatever division they're in, all working together for the collective of the club, whether that's identifying, bringing in players, or doing something to foresight us moving positively for the future in a good direction. But what's the saying, people? Something like too many chefs spoil the soup, or whatever it is in it. Obviously, everybody's role isn't the same, and we need smart individuals in respective roles. But when you've got so many opinions and stuff, can you really get things done, people? There is clearly divisions at all walks at this club. Boardroom. There's clearly divisions in the Arsenal dressing room, whether that's to do with the Xhaka thing, to do with Aubameyang and troops, whether that's to do with belief in Emery, whether that's... Well, I would start to think players must be thinking other players are not caught up to task. Like, people must be... Socrates might be looking at Leno might be looking at Aubameyang's looking at Xhaka's looking at this guy. People have to start... When it's like this now, people have to start questioning things, people. And obviously that's not positive to hear, because when there's so much disarray and things, and this could all be worse, you can't move positively in the right direction. And it leads me to believe like the club did not do their research thoroughly enough, or Emery wouldn't be in this role. And when you take shortcuts, they come back to burn you, people. So who knows, the next appointment, the same thing might happen. There's no assurances in football, but what the club need to do is have a plan, whether that's giving it Emery and Bold on reports basis to the end of the season, while you have dinners and informal meetings with whatever manager is going to step into this role, people. Just have a plan. Go out there and say, yo, this is the man. We want you. If you don't want to sack Emery now, you're coming in May. You know, he's got a philosophy where in paper we can say, okay, year 1 we might be around here. Year 2, cool. Year 3, cool. Year 4, cool. Someone that can, first and foremost, inspire belief in these players and give them the freedom of mind to do what they need to do. Obviously improve us, specifically defending and all the things that go in improving in defending, and the well-documented issues Arsenal have in relation to our lack of ability to defend and keep clean sheets and the obvious areas. But in short, for me, it's got to be someone... And that's why I don't think it has to be a name, and that's why I think it would actually, even to a degree, people be better if it isn't the Allegris, the Artetas, the Klopp, not Klopp, sorry, I wish it was Klopp, and you know what I mean, all these big names, because Pochettino, because don't get me wrong, I'd want any of them, they're all good names, but you see when I'm saying these names, people, you've probably heard these names, and I've done it myself. You've made your opinion up. No, Poch, ex-Spurs, he's not one nothing, blah, blah, blah. Or some man might be, no, what, Poch, he gave Spurs one of the best periods in my lifetime. Go and grab him. Allegri, he's a winner, he's this, he's that. Other people have other sticks to beat him with. Do you get it? So in some ways, it might be better if we can go out there and get a lesser-known coach. Someone that just has what we're looking for in terms of philosophy and all of these other things. Of course, the flip side of that is people will be like, who? Who is he? But to be fair, everybody has to go through that to be known. Obviously, Barcelona's thing is differently. But at one point, Pep Guardiola, no disrespect to him, was just a relatively unknown manager who's only managed the academy side. Do you get it? Klopp, before he was Klopp at Dortmund and Mainz, I'm sure he had to have been a Rebo somewhere. You get what I'm saying, people? You have to go through something to become something. So you might as well take a chance. Like, nothing guarantees success. But what I'd like to see from this club is at least it looked like we did some due diligence searches and we had a proper plan. Because then what can fans say? If we look like we conducted proper processes and whatnot, and brought a man in and he ties in with what we want, what can we say? To be fair, a lot of that was said for Emery, but it's not seen in hindsight, people. On that note, I'm going to keep it moving though, man. People, DG, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking as usual.